Welcome to Training Tuesday. Hello, ladies. Welcome to Tuesday, my favorite night of the week. We are here for Training Tuesday tonight, and tonight we're talking about being stuck. Being stuck, having a hard time making a decision, getting out of a rut. I was thinking about this because we get stuck in some funny places. And so when I'm working with clients and they're stuck in a particular place, sometimes being stuck is a mindset, and sometimes being stuck is an actual decision or action that we take. So I want us to think about it in kind of both those concepts, that sometimes what we're stuck in, it's not so much having to make a decision as it's a mindset. It's an assumption or an idea that's keeping us trapped. But I was thinking about it also in terms of big decisions, little decisions, right? Big moments, little moments. Like the little stuck. The little stuck is where I'm at pretty much every time I sit down and open a menu. Right? And the question we get asked, right? What would you like to eat? Well, I don't know. Because if I'm hungry in particular, then I kind of want one of everything on the menu. And then if I'm not as hungry, then I'm kind of gauging what am I in the mood for? And is it going to be light enough or is it going to be heavy enough? Do you ever have that moment where like you're in the restaurant and you sit down and you think you're not very hungry, so you're just going to order something light, and then when the food comes, suddenly you're ravenous and you're like, yeah, that half salad isn't going to cut it. Right? So getting stuck sometimes means we're overwhelmed with all this stuff going on in our head, but there are little decisions, right? Choosing what to eat on a menu. I can spend an inordinate amount of time looking at wine labels and trying to figure out like which bottle of wine should I buy with dinner tonight. I can spend an awful lot of time, with my mouse hovering over an online purchase. Do I really need those shoes? Do I really need that lipstick? Right? Whatever it is that I'm searching for. That's little stuck. And little stuck is not life threatening, not life altering. And we find ways to navigate the little stuck, right? One of the things that the biggest thing I do, right? Sitting at the table, staring at a menu, can't decide. Everybody around the table, what are you having? What are you having? And sometimes what everybody else is having can influence your decision. But most of the time, I just wait for the pressure. The pressure of the waiter or the waitress, the table server standing over me going, well, what are you going to eat? Because everybody else has ordered. And that will at least make me say something, right? Those of us who are great procrastinators and really good working on deadlines, it's kind of what we do. So we're not going to talk about little stuck tonight because I'm going to trust that as stressful as it might be sometimes, you are going to find a way to order what you want off that menu. We're talking about big stuck. So that was little stuck. We're going to talk about big stuck. We're going to talk about when we get stuck with decisions or moments or ideas that have actual life consequences of some kind. Things like, do I change my job? Do I take this new offer? Or do I stay where I am? Do I speak up at work because of something I see or hear or something I'm asked to do that doesn't quite work for me, right? Or do I not speak up? Is it the right time for me to launch my business or not? Should I carve out time to write that book I've always talked about or not? Should I leave my relationship or not? Do I set that boundary with my sister or my mother, or do I let it go, right? So these are more of the decisions where we get stuck, because the outcome of whatever choice we make or action we make or the way we think about it has bigger consequences than my digestive gut for the next 24 hours, right? Has bigger consequences than whether or not I bring the right bottle of wine to the cocktail party kind of thing. So we're going to talk tonight about stuck and getting unstuck. And I promised you kind of 5 steps in the process of getting ourselves unstuck when it comes to these bigger deals. So before I dive into that, good evening. Thank you for joining Training Tuesday. If you haven't been here before, my name is Natalie Hahn. I am CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting, and I am your coach. You are here in Accelerating Leadership for Professional Women, our private women-only Facebook group, where every Tuesday we focus on different topics around leadership and building confidence and getting aligned with yourself and your energy and truly kind of creating and devising your best life. That's what we're here for. So say hello, as my friends Joyce and Sue have. Hey ladies, good evening to you. Say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're from. As I'm going along, if you have questions, comments, stories you want to share, that's what the chat is for. If you are watching this on replay, I encourage you to still do the same. Tell us where you're from, who you are, ask your questions. I do follow the comments and everything after the replay, so often, especially in replay, there's a lot of active engagement, so don't be shy if you are missing this live. Hey, Hema, how are you? Look at that. All right, so ladies, how do we get stuck? What are the ways that we get stuck? There's a lot of different areas around this. So one way that we will find ourselves faced with a moment, an option, an opportunity where we get stuck is too many options. There's too many choices in front of us and we're not sure which is the right one, and that can put our mind in a little bit of overload, and then we go, I don't even know what to do. I'm tapping out. So sometimes when we have too many options, we get stuck. And then sometimes we have no options. There's no clear option on the table for where to go or what to do, and we feel stuck because we're not being told, we're not seeing a clear path, right? We're lacking clarity, and we have to come up with what's next. We get stuck when we're in a situation that does not align with our values. We get stuck when we're told to do something or asked to do something or participate in something or just be involved in a way. And if it doesn't align with our values, often where we get stuck is, do I say something or do I just go along with it? Do I speak up? Will there be consequences? Will I look like not the cool kid? How will other people judge me? Will my boss hate me, right? We start spinning those wheels, and because we can't predict the future, we feel trapped. And when we feel trapped, we feel stuck. So those are sort of the three main themes I see coming up, right? I've got too many options, I don't have any options, or this doesn't sit right with me, and I'm not sure what to do because the consequences could be dire. So, hey, Kimberly, it's good to see you. Hello and welcome. So why does this happen, though, that we find, whether it's we have options or we don't have options, whether it aligns with us or not, how do we find ourselves in this stuck place? So a few common threads that underpin feeling stuck and being stuck. If you have a tendency to be a perfectionist, you probably experience stuckness, right? Because when we're a perfectionist, we are all about managing the outcome. We are all about making sure that everything happens exactly the right way, or that the end result we get is exactly what we expected. A little tiny bit of control theme going on there. But when we are perfectionists, we worry if it's less than perfect, if it's not the outcome that was expected or promised. And so we get stuck when we're in a position where we can't see what the outcome is going to be. We can't predict that, and so we feel stuck because we don't want to make the wrong decision. We can experience stuckness if we have a history with trauma. When you have a history with trauma, you can often feel fearful of making a decision. And again, it's a little bit of lack of visibility into what's going to happen next, but the fearfulness in trauma is, who are we going to upset? Who's going to come at us? We don't want to create more angst. We don't want to create more bad feeling. We don't want to trigger someone else, much less ourselves. And so we're hesitant to take action in case something blows up on us. If you struggle with anxiety or depression, then you also often probably feel stuck. Anxiety is that stress of the stress of not knowing and trying to control. And depression can often be a bit of the what difference does it make anyway? I don't know what to do. I'm going to go hide, and I don't know, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. So it's a little bit self-selecting stuckness because you feel like you can't have an impact anyway. It won't make a difference. Now, there's a few different ways we look at stuckness when we're in that mode, when we're in any of those modes. One of the things that keeps us stuck is positional power. We feel that we don't have the power to make a change or to make a different decision. So positional power is literally, if you think about the world on an org chart and where do you fit. So in the work environment, if you're at a director level and the VP has made a decision that you don't agree with, the VP has the positional power. So you may feel like you can't say something, or it's not in your career's best interest to say or do something different because there's a positional power play. So we feel stuck then with a decision that we don't necessarily agree to. We can feel stuck if we don't have enough confidence in our own beliefs, in our own opinions, in our own conviction of what is the right thing to do or what is the best thing to do. We get stuck when we worry about what other people think, especially if what we want to do feels like it might trigger negative feedback in others. If we're worried that our choice is going to let other people down or make other people angry or anxious or sad or disappointed, that causes us to be stuck because it's like, I really want to do this, but do I want to deal with the fallout of my partner being disappointed? Do I want to deal with the critical feedback of my mother? And so we don't do anything. Lack of clarity will keep us stuck. If we can't really see what the priority is or what the end goal is, we're not really clear on what we should be trying to achieve anyway, we can feel trapped because it's like, I don't know if it's the best decision because I'm not really sure what I'm trying to get out of this. When our goals are unclear, we can't figure out how to prioritize our next step. So that's where that connection happens. So you guys tell me, what happens to you when you feel stuck? And you feel free to pop it in the chat, but how do you feel, or what happens when you find yourself in a place of being stuck? How do you respond to that? How do you react to that? How does it make you feel? I know that for a lot of the women that I work with, when they find themselves in that moment of stuck, a lot of things they talk about is stress, right? The stress of being stuck, the anxiety. That level of stress and anxiety can lead to burnout. So not only are they stuck not making a decision, but they're too exhausted. So there's fatigue, right? They're too tired to make a decision anyway. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Irritated, Kimberly, good. Yeah, we get annoyed with ourselves. We beat ourselves up. That's how that shows up. We get irritated with ourselves. We get irritated with other people because maybe they don't understand or see our point of view. Maybe they don't even see or understand that we have a different point of view. And that irritation grows and creates friction inside of us. Insecure about the unknown, absolutely, Hema. Overwhelmed and inadequate, spot on. Yeah, this is what happens. We beat ourselves up. We feel powerless. We feel like we don't have control. And when that happens, we give up our power. When we lose our sense of confidence that we can make something happen no matter what it is, and when we lose our belief in our resilience, that no matter what happens, we'll figure it out, then we give up our power. When we are trapped in being stuck, There's no movement. There's no leadership happening. There's no motion happening. There's no action taking place, and we give up our power. Any decision you make, even if you think later in hindsight, oh, that was the wrong decision, but any decision you make, any choice you make that creates forward momentum is a power move. It's a power move. Making a decision is a power move. We tend to avoid confrontation when we're stuck, right? We tend to kind of hide in our turtle shell and go, just let it pass me by. I don't want to deal with it. And we just worry a lot. We worry a ton. Jackie's awesome. Jackie's going on vacation, which is exactly the right thing to do, especially if you're feeling burnt out, stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed, insecure. Vacations are wonderful for that, but it means you actually take the vacation. You actually do it. And I love what you said, Jackie, and Kim. I love what you followed up with, because that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today, right? How do we get unstuck? We get unstuck, to use Kim's phrase, come back to my space. We get unstuck by coming back to ourselves. So I promised you 5 steps. It's truly 4 steps and a repeat. So I'm just going to tell you that up front. It's 4 steps and a repeat of how we get unstuck. When you're in that place, overwhelmed, anxious, can't make a decision, not really sure what to do, and especially if it's a big decision. I mean, you could try these steps if you're reading the menu, but it feels like a bit much. So let's get beyond the menu and let's get into, do I take this job or not? Or if something happens at work, do I speak up or don't I speak up? Right? Things like that where we've got ourselves feeling trapped. First step, right? 5 steps I promised you to work through the process of getting unstuck. And the first step is to find quiet and cleanse. I want you to find a quiet space and cleanse. Now, the steps I'm going to walk you through, you can do in less than 15 minutes. You absolutely can. And we all have 15 minutes to clear our head. We don't think we do, but we do. Because trust me, somewhere in your day, you found 15 minutes or more to scroll through the Instagram feed or your Facebook feed and like a bunch of things, and you didn't even notice that time went by. So you could reclaim it. But the first thing we do is find quiet and cleanse. And one of the best meditations that I experienced that was specifically a cleansing meditation was only 5 minutes. It was a 5-minute meditation, and I'm going to give you the framework that she talked us through, because I just found this so useful and I've used it a ton ever since. Right, so you don't have to be a big meditator for this to work. You do not have to be somebody who finds their Zen, 45 minutes meditating every morning. This is a really easy way to reset and cleanse. So find yourself a quiet space. Go hide in the bathroom stall at work if you're going into an office. Go sit in your bedroom or your own bathroom if you need to get away from the pets or the kids or the noise or whatever. But find quiet and you sit down. Now, sometimes when you're stressed or anxious or feeling stuck, you feel it somewhere in your body. If we're really tuned into kind of our chakras and our body energy, you may feel it in your chest. There's a tightness in your chest. You may feel like a burning or a nausea in the pit of your stomach. You may feel shortness of breath or like your throat is closing, right? So you may feel it in a certain part of your body. If you do, then my recommendation is that you sit somewhere comfortably, but you sit up straight, but you sit yourself comfortably and you breathe in. And as you're breathing in, you're imagining you're drawing your air into that space and you're opening it up. Open up that space. If you don't feel it particularly anywhere, you're super stressed, but you're so stressed you don't know where in your body. Your whole body is tense. Focus on your heart space. Focus on opening up your heart space. So when you breathe in, breathe into your chest. And when you let it go, the first few breaths, let it out your mouth. And make it an audible sigh. Audibly blowing your breath out and sighing actually physically, it's a signal to your brain and it physically relaxes your body. You will feel the difference. So for your first 2 or 3 breaths, when you breathe in, sigh out, audibly, and let your muscles relax and drop. The next 5, 10, 20 breaths, however much time you have, what you're going to do when you breathe in, you're going to imagine you're breathing in a white light and you're filling your chest with it. So you breathe in white light and you fill your chest with it. And when you exhale, you imagine that you're breathing out all the dust in the corners of your body, all the little remnants and tidbits of whatever it is, stress, blackness, crudiness. Breathe in white, breathe out all the dust. For me, there was just something about the visualization of breathing white light into my body and then letting it seep through not just my chest, but all parts of my body. And whenever I exhaled, I was exhaling any little bits of just dust that were sitting in my body, right? That's your cleanse. And you're going to be nice to yourself when you do this, right? We're not going to focus on the decision, the choices. All you're focusing on is breathing in that white light and breathing out the dust. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, when you breathe into your heart space, you can open your eyes for this part. Think about the choice or the option or the next step. If you have clear choices and you're not sure which one, then the visualization you do is, here's the decision I've made. I have 2 options. If I choose decision A, this is what that feels like. I've made decision A. I'm moving forward with decision A. Breathe that in. I've made a choice. Breathe it in. What does it feel like? Does it feel good? Does it make you tense? Did you say, yes, I'm going with decision A, and suddenly you're all nervous again, right? Now that you've calmed your body down, what does decision A feel like? Sit with that for a few minutes. And then if it doesn't feel 100% like, yeah, that was it, flip the script. Breathe in decision B. We're going to set decision A aside. I'm going to breathe in decision B right now. If I take this route, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in the white light, clear out the dust. I have decided to go with decision B. What does that feel like? Because often when we're finally relaxed and we're starting to tap into our body and our intuition, our body gives us signals of what the right decision is. What is the right choice? Now, you may or may not, if you don't have a clear decision A or decision B, you might just breathe in a few minutes to think about what are my options and use this as a mini brainstorming session. And this is something also, you can do it for a minute, 2 minutes, you can do it for 5 or 10 minutes. But you want to basically use your body and your intuition to test out what are my choices and how does it feel? Our intuition always knows what's in alignment with ourselves. Sometimes our brain gets it confused, but our body always knows. 3rd step, whip out a piece of paper. You know I love journaling. It's time to journal. Why we journal, and if you don't like journaling, we don't call it journaling. I'll call it a free write. I didn't say get out a journal. I said get out a piece of paper. You can burn the paper afterwards. You can throw it away. You can post it up on a wall. Totally up to you. But the point of the paper is to grab a pen or a pencil and to start writing out what is your discomfort. Where are you at? What is the discomfort? What are the options in front of you? If you don't have options, what are the decision points you have to make? Here's what I've learned. Sometimes we conflate and confuse different stresses. And then when we do that, it confuses our decision-making process. So for example, recently I was making a decision about my business and the direction I wanted to go in my business. And part of me had this really strong urge to go in direction A, and another part of me was like, yeah, but B might be I just couldn't make a choice. I literally had 2 choices in front of me and I couldn't make the choice. And I kept flip-flopping. That was what was frustrating, is in my head, I kept flip-flopping. But neither one felt settled. And I went through this exercise of doing the cleanse just to calm myself down around this topic. And then I was accessing my intuition. I was breathing into the space and I was trying on option A and I was trying on option B. And I wasn't 100% settled on either one, but I started leaning towards one and went, you know what? This one actually feels a little bit better. When I took out my journal and I started journaling about it next, about what I felt in that meditation and the choices that I had, what I realized was I was taking some other stresses that were impacting other areas of my life, and it was coloring the decisions I was trying to make for my business. So I was letting some of the personal aspects of my life influence the way I was looking at my business, even though genuinely those personal decisions had nothing to do with my business decisions. But the stress was getting tangled up, which is normal, right? Which is natural. When we feel anxiety on one thing, and then there's a little more anxiety coming over here, of course they're going to come together, and it's going to be one big problem. And suddenly we have those feelings of, oh, my life is a mess. It's a disaster. It's not. It's just life. But when we confuse and conflate where the stress is coming from, or the anxiety is coming from, or the worry is coming from, it can murky up our vision, right? We lose clarity around what's the actual problem we're trying to solve and what's the outcome we really want to get. So I use the free write to just let everything flow, all the random thoughts, even if they didn't seem connected at the time. Once I start putting it on paper, I start to see where I was making connections. So the free write is important. It is also important in the free write that you be nice to yourself. I said that earlier. Every step of this process, be nice to yourself. Be understanding. If your best friend came to you with this same conflation of stress, the same set of worries, how would you treat her? What would you be advising her? Be her. Be nice. Step number four is, if after all of this you're still not clear which way you're leaning, a great exercise that for those of you who, and a few of you who are on this tonight have been through this with me, there's a meditation that I take my clients through. We all go through it at least once, called the Inner Wise Woman. And really it's an exercise where it is a meditation exercise. It's about 10 minutes. And in this exercise, we walk through a vision of you 20 years in the future. The future you, 20 years in the future, she's wiser, she's smarter, she's so much more comfortable in her body than where we are today. She's got it figured out. So in this meditation, we spend a little time getting to know, who is she? Because she helps us find clarity around who we are, what's important to us, and what our values are. And in that 10-minute meditation, as we walk through getting to know this inner wise woman and talking to her, we can get some clarity around who it is that not only am I today, but who it is I want to be in the future. Who's that leader that I want to be? How is it I want to show up 20 years from now? And when I look back on my life 20 years, what do I want to see? When you come out of that exercise, when you come out of that meditation, then you can ask yourself, what would she do? So step 4 is, who's your inner wise woman? Who is that woman 20 years from now, who is wiser and smarter and has learned all the lessons and is saying to you, listen, if I had to do it all again, here's the way I would look at it. Here's what you need to do to get from where you are today to where you want to be 20 years from now. So an inner wise woman meditation, tap into the wisdom of the future you, because you have it. You do have it. For those of you that are like, I can't even imagine where I'm going to be in 20 years. Of course you can't. And of course you can. Because even if you don't know exactly where you're going to live or what you're going to be doing for work, you are going to know how you want to feel. You are going to know what's important to you, what values are aligned with you. And that's a whole lot of information to work with. So step 1, find a quiet place and cleanse. Step 2, access your intuition. Breathe into your options and see how they feel. Step 3, journal. What else is going on? What else is happening that might be conflated into the moment you're experiencing now? Go with the discomfort. Explore why you're not comfortable. Explore why there's confusion. Go with the flow of it and be nice to yourself. 4, talk to your inner wise woman. Figure out, think through 20 years from now, where am I? Where am I living? Who am I living with? How am I dressed? How am I taking care of myself? What am I doing with my time? What are my hobbies? Get to know her 20 years in the future. And then ask her. Ask her, for me to get from where I am today to where you are, what do I need to do? What would she do in your shoes today? Step 5, breathe in. You go through these steps, breathe in the new energy. What do you feel? Do you have more clarity on who you are and where you want to go? Do you have more clarity on who you want to be? When we know who we are and when we trust who we want to be, that's when we know how to take action. That's when we are in the most alignment with who we are as women, as leaders, as anybody, just as ourselves. This is when we know who we are and we know how we want to show up. When we make choices in alignment with that, we're never wrong. When we make choices that are in alignment with our integrity, we are never wrong. Doesn't mean it's always going to work out beautifully or the way that you imagine, but it does mean you've made the right choice for you. And at the end of the day, with all of the decisions we make, and it's 38,000 decisions we make a day, literally, when you're making them in alignment with who you are, you're never wrong. You're never wrong. And you can trust your resilience, that you will handle whatever the outcome is because you did what you needed to do for you. This is how we build clarity. This is how we build up our confidence and our resilience and understand the direction that we need to go in, the direction that works for us. So step number 5 is breathe in that new energy, assess where you're at. And if you're still feeling not quite clear, not entirely sure, not wholly confident in you, you do it again. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cleanse, access your intuition, journal, talk to your inner wise woman, and do it again. And this is something I do tell all my clients. When we do the wise woman exercise together, I give them a recording of the meditation, and I recommend that you do it regularly. That every few months or at least once or twice a year that you listen to that meditation and you tap back into, because here's the thing, your inner wise woman isn't likely going to change much she's not going to change in terms of who she is and what she wants. What you will get more clarity on the more that you practice connecting with her, you will get more clarity on how you get there. You'll get more clarity on what are the details around it. If you couldn't decide between the beach house, right, or the cottage in the mountains, you will get more clarity around that the more that you connect with your inner wise woman and the more that you are making decisions in alignment with you. That's how you build clarity. You stay focused, you reground to you, and then you make choices that are right for you. When we're stuck, it's because we're not sure what the right choice is, and often we're not sure what the right choice is because we're too busy trying to tune in onto what is going to make everyone else happy. And when we're tuned into what makes everyone else happy, we're not making a choice for us. We're not making the right decision. We are making a decision. And honestly, when we're making choices about pleasing other people, it's a political decision. Think about that. We're playing politics when we do that. What we're talking about tonight is leadership, and how you lead, how you get yourself unstuck as a leader is aligning to what your goals are, what your mission is, what you believe about yourself, tapping into your confidence, tapping into your knowledge, experience, and intuition, and using that as a basis for every decision you make. All right, ladies, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. But I enjoy always my Tuesday nights with you. I hope that this was helpful. Again, the 5 steps: cleanse, access your intuition, journal, access your inner wise woman, and breathe in the new energy and do it all again if you have to. So, if you would like some help working through this process, if you need to find more clarity, more direction, if you're feeling stuck, I invite you to drop the word dig in the comments, and we will do a 15-minute Dirty Girl mini dig, a 15-minute kind of coffee chat. We'll get to know each other and we can talk through where you're feeling stuck and how to get you unstuck. So drop the word dig in the comments, and we'll take a few minutes to go through that meditation and help you move yourself forward and in alignment with you as a leader. So it's a free 15-minute coaching call. Just drop the word dig in the comments and we will get that going. All right, you guys have a fabulous evening. As always, it's a pleasure to see you. Sue and Hema, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening.